Good morning, students of class 10. Welcome back to the online classes now. I hope you are going through the online portal now and don't miss the classes. Let's continue our lesson in English, The Thief's Story. It's all about Hari Singh, a young boy of 15 years, and Anil. Anil was a writer. He used to write articles for the newspaper. Now, Anil was very careless, but as well as he was very kind. He was very kind to Hari Singh, the young boy who used to deceive and steal people. But Anil was very kind and he kept him in his house. Though he could not pay him, he gave him food and taught him how to read and write. So this shows that Anil was very kind. Now we will go to this. As Hari Singh had robbed Anil, he was out on the street, and not only that, he went to the railway platform to catch the Lucknow Express, but he could not understand why he stopped there. He hesitated and he could not board the train. Therefore, the train left the station and he was alone in the deserted platform. And he went back slowly towards the bazaar, towards the market, and finally he sat on a bench and it started drizzling and he took the shelter of the clock tower. Now let's continue our lesson. It was early November and the winter had set in. The night was chilly, the cold wind was blowing and it was drizzling lightly. A light drizzle added to his discomfort. Now he don't know where he had to go because he had no friends over there. So soon it was raining quite heavily. Very soon the rain changed from drizzling to heavy rain and his clothes stuck to his body and all the money he had kept in his vest was all wet. So now Hari Singh took shelter of the clock tower. It was midnight and the notes he had kept in his vest, tied with the string of pajamas, all were wet with rain. Now he began to think. Now, as he took shelter of the clock tower, he began to realize and think that I made a big mistake. I should have returned back to Anil. He was so kind to me and I have deceived him. I have betrayed him. I should not have done that. Because he was teaching me how to read and write. To steal is something easy, which is easy for me. But to become an educated man is something else, so that I can earn a lot of money. So he began to realize his mistake, that he had robbed Anil, and it was a big mistake he had made. So he began to think, Anil would have probably given me 1 or 2 rupees, 2-3 rupees to go to the cinema. As he had got the money, as he had received the money from writing the articles, so from that bundle of money he could have given him some money to go to the cinema. But now I have it all. He said that now all the money I have it in my vest, in my pocket. So now I can cook for him. Now I am out of the house. I cannot cook. I cannot read and write the whole sentences anymore. Now I will remain as a thief always. So it's a big mistake I have done. Now I must go back to Anil and without noticing him, I must put the money back. He said, in the excitement of stealing the money, I had forgotten about them. In the excitement of stealing the money, though I was very greedy, I had forgotten all about this. The positive aspects of this, I have forgotten everything. It was a simple matter to steal. He thought that it was a simple matter to steal, but to become a respected and educated man was something else, he said. After realization, now he realized while taking the shelter from the rain, he realized his mistake. He thought he should go back to Anil. He thought he should go back to Anil now to learn to read and write and become an educated man. So in the hope of getting lessons from Anil and to become an educated man, he thought that I must go back to Anil. So he hurried back to Anil's house, feeling very nervous. Definitely he felt nervous because he had stolen the money. How to go back to the same house where he had stolen the money, as well as, for it is much easier to steal than to return it undetected. He thought that for me, Hari Singh thought that for me to steal is very easy, but to return it back without being undetected is something very difficult for me. So he began to realize. He went back to Anil and he opened the door and stood on the doorway for a while. And he looked inside. Anil was still sleeping. So now what happens after that? Whether Anil comes to know that he had stolen the money, or whether he will catch him, or whether he will drive him out of the house. Let's see what happens in the next class. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue our lesson. Don't forget to go through the online portal, otherwise you will be missing a lot of things. You won't understand many things. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you very much for watching the video. So that's all. See you tomorrow.